Hello students, welcome to the study portal. So today we are going to discuss our histopathology sections, unit 2. So in the last lecture we have discussed about the what are the staining procedures, why we have to done staining procedures in histopathology, and we have completed routine staining. What is the routine staining? H&E is the routine staining in histopathology. So in part 1 we have completed our routine staining. Now today we are going to study further with the part 2, which contains our special stains and further some particular stains for particular materials. Okay, so today we are going to continue with our second part of your unit 2, and the topic will be the same, the staining procedures in histopathology, but today we are proceed with the second part with the special stains. Routine staining we have done. Now we will discuss what are the special stains, why we have to perform special stains, and what are the other classifications of these stains. Okay, so let's start. Special stains. So special stains are staining techniques, okay, to highlight various individuals tissue components once we have preliminary information from the H&E staining. As we have discussed in the first part that H&E staining is the routine staining. We have done this staining on routine basis in our histopathology lab, and it gives us a preliminary clue. Okay, so now we have to the special stain is a staining techniques which highlights various individual components. There are certain components which are not stained or which are not identified clearly in the H&E staining. It gives us the preliminary clue, but sometimes it does not give the clear identification or differentiation between different components or in different or in a particular disease process. So for that we have to continue with we have to perform the special stains. Okay, so it highlights the various tissue components, individual tissue components. Once we have the preliminary, so first we have to done with the H&E staining only, and then we will proceed to the special stainings. Okay, so special stains are used to identify certain normal and abnormal substances which are present in the cells and tissues which cannot be identified in H&E staining, or it can be better visualized under the special stains. Some things we can maybe it can happen like some tissues or some deformities we can already identified in the H&E staining, but it does not clearly identified. So for that we have to continue with the special stains, as it is written over there, that which cannot be identified on routine hematoxylin stain or are better appreciated on special stains. So for that purpose we have to perform special stains. Okay, now we have a classification of staining procedures. So why I do not give any example of staining in special stains? Because the stainings given over here are the only examples of the special stains also. So first clear one thing, do not confuse, we have a different classification of stains. Okay, we have stains for carbohydrates, we have stains for amyloids, we have stains for microorganisms, we have stains for nucleic acids. So all these headings have certain stains. Like in stains for carbohydrates have 3 types of stains: PAS stain, enzymatic, Elsham blue. So apart from these stains, PAS stain will be the special stain. It comes under the category of the special stain. So in every type of stain I will tell you which is under the category of the special stains. Okay, so let's continue with the classification of stains for particular substances. As it is mentioned over here, particular substances. Why particular substances? Like there are stains for carbohydrates, there are stains for amyloids, there are stains for nucleic acids. So there are 7 such classifications which you have to know for so this is a particular component, this is a particular substance, carbohydrate, this is a particular substance. So for so like this we have different stains. So stains for carbohydrates we have periodic acid shift stain, PAS stain, Elsham blue stain, and enzymatic digestion technique. We will going to discuss each and every stain. Okay, first let's see what are the classification. Then we have stains for amyloids. In amyloids we have 2 types of stains: Congo red and crystal violet and methyl violet stain. This is a combination of 2 stains again, crystal violet and methyl violet. Okay, Another category is nucleic acid stains. So to stain the nucleic acids, we have now again two types of stains. Okay, Fulgen stain and ethyl green pyronin stain. Then we have next category, lipid stains. To stains particularly the lipid components which are present in our tissues, which we have received in our laboratory. So for that we have again two types of stain, oil red O stain and Sudan black B stain. Okay, then we have other category, microorganisms, stains for microorganisms. There is no any such boundary that we can perform that we have to perform stains for microorganisms only in the microbiology sections. No, because microorganisms can be present in any site of our body. Microorganisms can be present in our tissues also, so we have to perform here also. So Zn stain and Gomori methenamine silver stain, we will discuss it in details also. Then we have another category for connective tissues such as fibers, reticular fibers, connective tissues, connective fibers. So for that connective tissue stains we have two stains, reticulin stains and Masson trichome stain, and also Van Gieson stain. Okay, now we have stains for pigments and minerals. For pigments and minerals we have pearl stain. Okay, pearl stain. So pearl stain is in the category of special stain. Here reticulin or Masson is in the category of special stain. Okay, here lipid stains is in the category. Here Sudan black is in the category of special stain. Here they both are like Zn stain and Gomori methenamine stain, they both are under the category of the special stain. So let's continue with each and every classification. So first we have carbohydrate staining. In carbohydrate staining we have three types of stains: PAS stain, enzymatic digestion stain and Alchian blue stain. So let's discuss one by one. So first we'll start with the PAS stain. So what is the principle of the PAS stain? It is basically a oxidation. Here there is a oxidation reduction will be happen. So how? Substance containing vicinal glycol groups. So these are the glycol groups, ठीक है, or their amino acids like alkyl amino acids. You have to learn each and every name of that amino acids or the groups. Alkyl amino acid derivatives are oxidized by periodic acid. First make one thing clear. Here also we have two stains, PAS stain. So first is periodic acid. This is one stain, and second we have Schiff. We can also say that Schiff's reagent. Okay, Schiff's reagent. So the oxidation part will be done with the help of the periodic acid. So here also we have two types of stains. Here is also a combination. Similarly in the hematoxylin and eosin stain, hematoxylin is the one dye, eosin is the one dye. Here also periodic acid is one and Schiff's reagent is another. So substances, whatever be the substances present in our tissues which are containing the glycol groups or their amino acid derivatives, they are oxidized with the help of the periodic acid. So periodic acid helps in oxidation, and it is oxidized into the dialdehydes. Okay, so glycol groups will be oxidized into the dialdehydes, and then which on reaction on Schiff's reagent. So first we'll treat our slides with the periodic acid, then in further steps the next step will be the Schiff's reagent. We will put our slides into the Schiff's reagent. So on reaction with the Schiff's reagent, what will happen? It will give insoluble purple magenta compound. So the color when we are done with the PAS staining, so the result, so when we see our slides or observe our slides under the microscope, so there is a purple magenta color is shown. So this color will be given by the Schiff's reagent. Okay, so the basic principle is here oxidation will be occur. What oxidation? Oxidation of the glycol group into the alkyl amino derivatives, they are oxidized with the help of the periodic acid, and the purple color compound will be because of the Schiff's reagent. Now what are the uses of the Pastin? Why we have to use Pastin? So we are uses Pastin for demonstrate glycogen and mucoprotein. So in carbohydrates we have some glycogen material, we have some non-glycogen materials. Okay, in further slides we will also discuss about the combination of certain stain with the Pastin, okay, to differentiate between the glycogen and non-glycogen part. So here we are diagnosed about the glycogen part. So it is used to demonstrate the glycogen and mucoproteins. Okay, so in diagnosis of poorly differentiated adenocarcinoma and various tissues like stomach, pancreas, lungs, and also hepatocellular carcinoma. So it is also used for the diagnosis of carcinoma conditions or cancers which are poorly differentiated, when we have difficulty to differentiate between the carcinoma. So we can use the Pastin, as it is written over here. It is in the diagnosis of poorly differentiated adenocarcinomas, and also for various organs like stomachs, pancreas, lungs, and hepatocellular carcinomas also. So this is the principle of Pastin. Now reagents. What are the reagents? So you have to know each and every stain what are the reagents with the proper compositions, which you have to know for your exam point of view also and for viva point of view also. So you have to know what are the reagents we have used in certain stainings and what are their compositions. So in past staining we have two stains, as I've told you, periodic acid and one is Schiff's reagent. So in periodic acid we have periodic acid 1 gram and distilled water 100 ml. And here in Schiff's reagent we have fustian basic 1 gram, distilled water again 100 ml, sodium metabisulfite 2 grams, concentrated HCl hydrochloric acid 2 ml, and charcoal activated 0.3 grams. So you have to know the concentrations in the correct numericals. What is the procedure? So fix films, as I've told you, in every staining, in every procedure, first you have to fix your slides. Okay, so fix films for 15 minutes in methanol, as we have certain fixatives, as I've told you in the first part also, formaldehyde, ethanol, methanol. So here we can use methanol for 15 minutes. Then we will rinse our slide. After every step we have to rinse our slide to remove the excess component. Suppose we have done fixation, so we have to remove the excess methanol from our slides. So we have to rinse our slide in running tap water. Then we have to treat our slides first with periodic acid. Schiff, this is our primary stain. So okay, so we have to treat our slides with 1% periodic acid for 10 minutes. Then again obviously we have to wash our slides in the running tap water for 10 minutes. Then in the next step we will treat with the Schiff's reagent for 30 minutes. For periodic acid it is for 10 minutes, and for Schiff's reagent we have to put for 30 minutes. Now again we have to rinse the slide to remove excess reagent, and then we will counter stain with aqueous hematoxylin. Here our counter stain is aqueous hematoxylin, which we use for 5 minutes, and then again we can wash our slides, air dry, and it is ready to observe under the microscopes. Now this is the past stain. Okay, you can see, such as this is a carcinoma condition of gastric signet. Which color is this? Magenta color. So like this you can observe your slides under the microscope. Like this is the liver glycogen storage, and this is a esophageal candidiasis. So this type of pictures you can observe under the microscope. This is the color you will observe after the past staining under the microscopes. Okay, so now we have enzymatic digestion technique. This is the second type of technique under the carbohydrate. So there are various enzymatic digestion techniques which have been applied to increase or verify the specific carbohydrate staining. When we have to specify the which particular carbohydrate, glycogen or non-glycogen. So for that we have various enzymatic digestion. For example, amylase or diastase technique. What is the function of diastase? It can digest glycogen easily. Okay, for glycogen digestion, are commonly utilized in laboratories to enhance the specificity of the pass staining, because pass stain can differentiate between both glycogen and non-glycogen. So to differentiate between and for the specificity of the pass stain, we will continue with the digestion techniques. Okay. So diastase digestion, as I have told you earlier, we have learned about the combination techniques where we combine our pass stain with the other techniques. So this is the combination. The pass technique is a unique among methods described. So pass stain is the unique method, that's why it is under the special category also. Okay, so it detects varied number of mucosubstances such as glycogen, mucins, glycoproteins. So it can detect all these things. Okay. So what are the solution containing? It contains phosphate buffer, ठीक है, with 1.97 gram of diphasic sodium phosphate, 0.28 gram distilled water 1000 ml, and this solution may be kept in the refrigerator for several months. Once we have prepared this solution, so we can store it for several months in the refrigerator. Then we have diastase solution, 0.1 grams, and phosphate buffer again 100 ml. So you have to know every reagents. What is the method? So DVAX 2 serial sections. DVAX 2 serial sections. Why here 2 serial sections? So we can easily differentiate between the two samples. One sample with glycogen, one sample without glycogen. We can differentiate. So we can take two samples. If there is a magenta color, so obviously there will be a glycogen is present. Okay. If there is magenta color is absent, so glycogen was present, which is digested by the diastase. So magenta color will be absent. So this is the basic of this step. We can read in further steps. I can tell you now I can tell you the basic. What is the basics of this? Why we have take two steps, or why we combine this? Because all the materials take purple magenta color. So we have to differentiate between the glycogen material and the non-glycogen material. So we have to take two steps, and we have to continue with the diastase digestion. So diastase will digest the glycogen. Okay, so that's why we have take two steps. So you can easily identify if there is a magenta color present, so glycogen is present. If there is not, so glycogen was there and it was digested by the diastase. Okay, so DVAX 2 serial sections in xylene and rehydrate. Again, obviously we have to rehydrate when we continue with the staining. All procedures are same. There is no need to confuse. First we have to fix, we have to rehydrate, we have two solutions, primary dye and the counter stain. All steps will be same. The thing you have to done is you have to learn what are the particular reagents, what is the principle, what is the use of each and every stain. Okay, and we have to wash our slide after every step. So there are similar steps, but you have to clear with your principles and reagents. So place one slide in the diastase solution for 1 hour at 37 degrees Celsius, and the other slide is untreated control. It will be taken as a control. Okay, again for 1 hour. Then wash both the slides in running tap water for 5 to 10 minutes, and then proceed with the pass staining. First we use the diastase. First we use the diastase so that digestion will occur. If there is glycogen, so digestion will occur. Then first we perform this, and then we'll proceed with the pass stain to clearly differentiate between the two types of stains. Okay, so yes, pass diastase reaction. So glycogen is diastase sensitive. As I have told you, it is a diastase sensitive. Hence sections containing glycase, when pre-treated with the diastase, the enzyme will digest the glycogen and will give negative pass reaction. Okay, अगर ग्लाइकोजन प्रेजेंट था, if there is glycogen present in the slides, so it will be digested with the help of the diastase. Okay, and pass negative results will be there. The purpose of using pass stain with diastase staining procedure is to differentiate glycogen from other past positive elements such as mucin that may be present in the tissue sample. So there are certain samples such as mucin, glycogen, which we can identify with the help of the past tense, but again we have to differentiate with the glycogen and non-glycogen material. So for that we have to perform diastase digestion. Okay. Next, what are the past positive substances? So these all are the substances in which are identified with the help of the past tense. So we have to differentiate glycogen and non-glycogen materials such as glycogen, neutral mucoprotein, glycoprotein, glycolipid, basement membrane, and also all fungi also we can detect with the help of the past tense. So it is necessary to differentiate between glycogen and non-glycogen material. Okay. Now we'll proceed with the Alchian blue stain. So what is the principle of Alchian blue stain? It is a group of polyvalent basic dyes. Okay, you have to know that it is a group of polyvalent basic dyes and they are water soluble. Okay, they are water soluble. So also in the name it is Alchian blue, so it gives the blue color due to the presence of copper in the molecule. Okay, when it reacts in the presence of the copper, so it gives the blue color due to the presence of the copper in the molecules. What is the purpose of Alchian blue? It may be used in the combination again with the past staining, so that both acidic and neutral mucins can be demonstrated in the same tissues. Again, mucins hai, so there are two types, acidic and neutral. And as we have discussed earlier, mucins also can be diagnosed with the help of the past tense. So these stainings we have done in the combination of past tense to differentiate between different categories. Like in previous slide, we have to differentiate between glycogen and non-glycogen material because both are again differentiated with the past tense. In this Alchian blue stain, now what we have to differentiate? We have to differentiate both acidic and neutral mucins. Okay, which again can be diagnosed with the demonstrate with the help of the past tense. So we have to differentiate between them. So that's why we use Alchian blue stain. So you have to know the basic reason why we use the particular stain with their reagents and principles. Okay, so here we take control as a small intestine, appendix and large intestine. Why we took control, or why we took only these three controls, small intestine, large intestine and appendix? Because they stain as Alchian blue positive. Okay, Alchian blue positive, they give blue color. So that's why we take these things as in control, so that we can compare. What are the fixatives we can use? We can use 10% NBF, Bolins or Holins. Then obviously we have an Alchian blue solution. Then we have Alchian blue 8GX 1 gram. Then we have 3% acetic acid solution 100 ml. Then we have nuclear fast red and ammonium sulfate 5 grams. And then we have distilled water 100 ml, and then we have nuclear fast red 0.1 gram. So these are the basic reagents which we are going to use. Now like this you can observe Alchian blue stain like this. This is the blue color. So like this you can observe under the microscopy. Okay, now we have completed our one category, stains for the carbohydrates. Now let's continue with the stains for amyloid. Now we have different category, amyloid. Okay, so what is amyloid? Amyloid is a protein which is deposited in our organs. Which organs? Like kidney, liver, spleen. So when it is deposited in our different organs, so there is a condition known as amyloidosis. So for that we use stains for amyloids. Okay, so here we have two stains again, Congo red stain, crystal and methyl violet stain. So to diagnose the condition amyloidosis, because it is a protein which is deposited sometimes in our organs like liver, kidney, spleen and other tissues also. So for that we have to use amyloid stains. Okay, so we have two types of amyloid stains, Congo red and crystal methyl violet. Now let's continue with the Congo red stain. So it is a histological technique and also it is a gold standard technique. It is a gold standard technique for the diagnosis of the condition amyloidosis. Okay, so you have to remember this thing, that Congo red is a staining technique under the category of amyloids and it is a gold standard technique to diagnose the condition amyloidosis. Okay. What is the principle? So it forms a non-polar hydrogen bonds with amyloid. As I've told you, sometimes amyloid get deposited in our tissues or in our organs. So this Congo red dye, it forms the hydrogen bonds with that amyloid, which is with the help of the non-polar hydrogen bonds. Okay, and it gives a red color, as I've shown you first, like this. Red color will be shown under the microscope. Okay, the high pH enhances the non-polar hydrogen bonding of Congo red and amyloid. Okay, because of the high pH, so it enhances the bonding between the Congo red and the amyloid region. So that's why when they combine to each other with the help of the hydrogen bonding, it gives the red color under the microscope. So these stainings, you have to know what is the use of these stainings. The main and basic staining which we have done on routine basis for the HNE, which we have done in the detailed basis. So in this you have to know what is the use, what is the basic principle, and like this you observe under the microscope. So now we have again crystal and methyl violet for amyloid. Okay, so here again two dyes are used, crystal violet and methyl violet. Okay, for metachromatic amyloid staining, again because this is the category under the amyloid stains, so they stain amyloid as purple red and blue background. So background will be blue and amyloid will be stained as a purple red. In the last slide it was only red, here it will stain the purple red. Okay, so what are the reagents used? Crystal and methyl violet, obviously our slides, our stains, 95% alcohol, 1% aqueous ammonium and 0.2% acetic acid. So these are the reagents. What will be the result? Amyloid will be here purple and background will take the blue color. So this is our stain under the crystal methyl violet amyloid staining. Okay, मैंने इसलिए स्टॉप किया है, ये तो आप एडिट कर लोगे. अब एक पार्ट और बन सकता है या मैं कंटिन्यू कर लूँ, बहुत लंबा नहीं खींचेगा. मतलब 30 से हो जाएगा, 40 मिनट्स तक का हो जाएगा, 10 मिनट्स में बाइंड अप कर दूंगी. तो मैं इसे कंटिन्यू कर लूँ क्योंकि बस थोड़ा सा ही और बचा है. थर्ड पार्ट बनाने का कोई मतलब नहीं है. ठीक है. So this is the result of the crystal and methyl violet. Our amyloid will be purple and our background will take the blue color. Okay, so now let's go to the next category. Now we will discuss nucleic acid. Now we have again two stains for nucleic acids also, Fulgen stain and methyl green pyronin stain. Okay, so Fulgen stain, why it is known as Fulgen stain? Because it is discovered by the scientist Robert Fulgen. Okay, and it is under which category? Nucleic acid category. So it is used for the demonstration and differentiation of DNA and chromosomal materials in the cell specimen. So when we have to differentiate between or demonstrate the chromosomal materials or DNA in our specimen, so we will done this staining. So it depends upon the acid hydrolysis of DNA. Therefore, fixating agent using strong acids should be avoided. When we fix our slides for this staining, so we have to avoid strong acids because it can cause hydrolysis of the DNA. Okay, what will be the result? In this, the result, if we observe DNA, so it will be in the red purple color, and when we observe cytoplasm, so it will be in the green color. Okay, so as I've told you already, there are so many classifications of the staining, so you only have to know the basic use, basic principle and the result. Okay, so in this stain, our DNA will be shown red purple under the microscope and cytoplasm will be shown like green color. Now we have methyl green pyronin stain. It is again a classification of histological staining, and it has two basic dyes for the demonstration and differentiation of DNA and RNA. It was Fulgen stain. It was used for the to identify chromosomal material and DNA, and here methyl green pyronin we used for demonstration and differentiation of DNA and RNA. Okay, what are the reagents? As we have read in the previous slide, it has two dyes. So first is methylene green and second is the pyronin. So methylene green react with the DNA, phosphate of the DNA, and pyronin will help in the RNA, and it binds to the mucins and cartilages also. Okay, so we have two dyes, one for DNA and one for RNA. Then now we have lipid stains. Okay, so we have done with nucleic acids also. Now we have another category, lipid stains. So here also we have two stains, oil red O and Sudan B black. So what is the principle of oil red O? It is oil soluble dyes. Okay, it is help for the lipid substances to demonstrate the lipid substances which are present in the tissues. So solubility of the dye in the lipid substances. So what will be the results if lipid is present? If you have received any sample and in that specimen you have lipid content, so lipid content if present, so it will be observed as red color and all the nuclei will take the blue color. Okay, this is your oil red O stain. What are the reagents? You have to know the reagents. We have 60% isopropanol, we have alum hematoxylin, we have a glycerin jelly mounting medium. We have mounting medium in each and every step, we have to need that. So different mounting medium. Here we use glycerin jelly mounting medium, obviously oil red O working solution to make oil red O stock solution, in which we have took oil red 0.5 grams and isopropanol 100 ml. Okay, like this you have seen, blue color for the nucleus and red color, right? Yeah, but we have lipid will be in red color, nucleus will be in blue color. We have read. So like this you have seen lipid content, all the lipid content will be in the red color. Like this you can observe under the microscope. Now Sudan black B stain, it is again a lipophilic. Okay, it is a lipophilic dye and it stains the intracellular phospholipids and other lipids. There are categories of the lipids. So it stains the intracellular phospholipids and other lipids. So it is insoluble in water, but it is dissolves in fat. You have to know the basics of every stain. It is insoluble in water, but it can dissolve in the fat. Okay, so this dye will accumulate in flat globule within the cells. Now it is slightly basic dye and it will combine with acetic groups in compound lipids, thus staining phospholipids also. It can stain phospholipids also. What are the reagents? Again you have to learn. We have fixative here, formaldehyde, 40% formaldehyde, stain obviously SBB, Sudan black B 0.3%, phenolic buffer 16 grams of crystalline phenol, and working solution at 40 ml phenolic buffers as a working solution. And here we use as a counter stain, here we use Leishman stain. Here our counter stain will be Leishman stain. There is not necessary that when we have combination of two dyes, so the next dye will be used as a counter stain. No, here we use counter stain Leishman. What will be the procedure? You have to fix and dry the smears in formalin vapors. Then obviously you have to air wash or dry for 15 minutes. Then stain first with the working solution of the Sudan black B, which is our first stain, for 1 hour. Then again you have now give 3 washing of ethanol for 30 seconds each to remove any residues. Okay. Now you have to wash, then wash with water and dry. First you have to wash with ethanol, then you have to wash with water and air dry, and now you can counter stain your slide with the Leishman stain. Same procedures, every stain have the same procedures, do not confuse. So how will be the results? The reaction product will be black and granular and all nuclei will be blue. All the nuclei will take the blue color, and all the fat globules and all the lipid content which you have studied will be shown as black and granular. Okay. like this. Black and granular nuclei will be blue. This black and granular area everywhere. So like this you can observe under the microscope. Now stains for microorganisms. Zeden stain, Gomori stain. We have two types of stain, Ziehl-Neelsen stain and Gomori methenamine silver stain. It is used for fungus. What is the principle of Zeden stain? So Zeden stain is basically used for the bacterium Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and it is used for the diagnosis of acid fast bacterium. Why it is known as acid fast bacterium? Because there is a presence of mycolic acid in their cell walls. Like Mycobacterium tuberculosis have mycolic acid in their cell wall. That's why it is known as acid fast bacteria. Okay, so Zeden stain is used to identify the acid fastness of the bacteria. It have two stains, carbylfuscin, which is a red dye, okay, and when treated with the acid, it is because of the presence of the mycolic acid, as I've already told you. Now, what are the reagents? Carbylfuscin, basic fuscin 0.5 gram, alcohol, aqueous phenol 5%. Obviously we have to mix well and filter before use. Then we have acid alcohol. Acid alcohol we can use as a hydrochloric acid or 70% alcohol. If we use hydrochloric acid, it will be 10 ml, and if we use 70% alcohol, 1000 ml. Okay, and again we have the next dye we have first carbylfuscin, second is methylene blue. For that we have methylene blue 1.4 grams and 95% 100 ml alcohol. What is the procedure? First you have to make the smear. You have received the sample such as sputum sample, very common because Mycobacterium tuberculosis cause TB. Okay, so you have received sputum sample in the laboratory. Now what you have to done, you have to make the smear, allow it to dry. Now you have to fix your slide, heat fix. Now what you have to do, you have to pour carbylfuscin, which is your first or basic dye. You have to pour the carbylfuscin stain over your slide with the intermittent heating. What is intermittent heating? Like this is the slide, this is the flame. Okay, I will pour carbylfuscin and I will took this slide like this on the flame and remove. Again on flame and remove. This is the intermittent heating, and I will continue this procedure until the fumes will start appearing. Okay, why we done this intermittent heating? So that there is a mycolic acid present in the cell wall, so it is a waxy layer. So carbylfuscin cannot enter the cell wall of the bacteria, so that carbylfuscin enter into the cell wall of the bacteria. For that we have to flame our slide, so that the waxy mycolic acid pores will be formed in the waxy mycolic acids, and our stain will easily enter into the cell wall of the bacteria. Okay, so this is the fix the smear, then pour carbylfuscin and until the fumes appear, as I've told you. Then we have to pour our next second sulfuric acid. What is the sulfuric acid? It is used to decolorize it. Okay, we have to repeat this step until it will start appearing pink color. Okay, we have to pour our 20% sulfuric acid until it start appearing pink color. Okay, this will be the next step. Then third step will be the methylene blue. This is our next counter stain. So pour methylene blue for 2 minutes again and then wash it. Result, if there is a acid fast bacilli present, they will appear in pink color, and background will take up the counter stain and appears blue color like this. These are your bacilli which are acid fast, and background will take up the blue color. Okay, now Gomori methenamine stain, it is used for the fungus basically, and obviously fungus in the tissue sections. So fungus can be fungus and other microorganisms, bacteria, fungus, they can present in the tissues also. So for that we are using this. So it is primarily based on the staining of polysaccharides, which is present in the fungal cell walls. In fungal cell walls there is a polysaccharide which is present in the fungal cell walls, and it can be used to demonstrate the basement membrane. Okay, what is the principle? So principle here is also reduction and oxidation occurs. It depends upon the reduction of the silver by the aldehyde group which is produced after the oxidation of fungal wall components with chromic acid. Okay, when fungal wall components oxidize, so then there is a reduction of silver by the aldehyde groups produced after the oxidation of fungal wall components. So this is the principle. Results: if fungus will be present, so it will be shown black color. Mucins and glycogen will be in grey black color. If there are RBCs also present, they took up the yellow color, and background will be pale green color, like this. Pale green color in the background, and fungus and other things will take up the black color accordingly. Okay, now you have stains for connective tissues. Okay, so connective tissues, we have reticulin and Masson's trichrome stain. So reticular stain is a very popular staining method in histopathology, as it is uses for the reticular fibers. As you have learned in the anatomy, there are reticular fibers which are extensively in liver histopathology. This staining, reticulin stain, is used extensively for the liver histopathology. Okay, what is the principle? Like, reticulin fibers have a natural affinity for silver solutions, so they must be treated with potassium permanganate to produce sensitized sites on the fiber where silver is deposited can be initiated. Okay, the things like potassium permanganate and silver solutions, all these things we have there in our reagent section. Okay, we have all these potassium permanganate and silver solutions in the reagent of this staining. So when we treat our reticulin fibers with this, so as it is written over there, it is natural affinity for the silver solutions. Okay, so they must be treated with the potassium permanganate to produce sensitized sites. So कौन सी dyes use होंगी? Silver nitrate obviously, sodium hydroxide, potassium permanganate. This is potassium permanganate. Oxalic acid, alum and formalin as a fixative obviously. What will be the results if reticular fibers will be there? So you can observe black color, and nuclei will take the grey color. Here nuclei is not in the blue color, here nuclei will take up the grey color. Now like this is a liver reticulin, it is written over here. Okay, these are the reticular fibers, black in color. These are hepatocyte muscles which are slightly reddish in color. So like this black color you have seen, these are the reticular fibers. Now Mason trichrome stain, it is used for the collagen fibers. Previous stain is used for the reticular fibers. This stain is used for the collagen fibers which are present in skin, stomach, intestine and lungs and so on. What is the principle again? Here we have a 3 dyes which is used for particular materials. Okay, such as acid fission stain, all the connective tissue such as PMA. So we have different dyes, we have 3 dyes. Okay, such as acid fission, it stains all the connective tissue, because in this staining we have 3 types of dyes, and components take up the dye according to their ability. Like acid fission can penetrate all the cells, and it can stain all the connective tissues present over there. So it can stain all the connective tissue. Another we have PMA, which competes with the fuscin and gain access in the collagen area by displacing the fuscin. Okay, then if reaction stopped at appropriate time, collagen will be free and to be stained now with the methylene blue. It displaces the fuscin. Like this you can observe under the microscope. Blue nuclei, pink color, all the blue one will be the nuclei, pink color will be the cytoplasm, and deep red area will be the blood cells. Like this you will observe under the microscope. Now we have stain for pigment and minerals. We have only one stain, pearl stain. So what is hemosiderin? Hemosiderin is a condition which is observed under the bleeding, when there is extreme bleeding, or when there is iron overload. When there is a content of iron overload in the patient, in the bleeding, in the iron. So hemosiderin is present in tissues as intracellular, and it contains iron in the form of ferric hydroxide that is bound to a protein framework. Sometimes iron get deposited into the tissues and there is a condition hemosiderin which occurs. So for that we use Pearl stain. What is the principle? The reaction occurs with the treatment of tissue sections with acid ferrocyanide. Any ferric ions, Fe3 plus, any ferric ions in the tissues combines with the ferrocyanide and result in the formation of bright blue pigment. Okay, whenever they combine with any ferrocyanide present in the tissues, so they will convert it into the bright blue color. Prussian blue, it is also, Pearl stain is only also known as Prussian blue. Okay. Fixation, first we have to fixate. We have to avoid the use of acid fixatives in this only, as we have done in nucleic acids also. Staining solution, there is 1% aqueous potassium, 2% aqueous hydrochloride, and we have to mix them both. Now what will be the procedure? Obviously we have to deparaffinize the slides first. Then we have to treat our sections with freshly prepared ferrocyanide solution for 10 to 30 minutes. Then again we have to wash to remove the excess material. Then lightly stain the nuclei with 0.5% aqueous neutral red or 0.1% nuclear fast red. Then again we have to wash the slides to remove the excess stain. And now at last we have to dehydrate again, clear with xylene and mount to observe under the microscope. Like this, bright blue color. Like this you have observed under the microscope. Okay. Now till now we have completed all the categories of the stain. So all the classifications of the stains we have done with that. Now we have, in this unit you have to study automated slide stainer also. Now whatever be the stains we have studied till now, either it is a HNE stain or Pearl stain or whatever be the stain, these are the manual methods which we have to perform manually. But now we also have our automated slide stainers. Okay, what is the function of the automated slide stainers? Also it is a device, it can stain our slide automatically. We just have to enter the slide, fixed slides in the machine. We have to put all the stains over there, we have to put the water and everything, and there is a template. We have to fix the time, type of washings we want in our staining procedure. Okay, so this is a machine. We have to load the various stains or reagents which are required according to our staining needs, and we have to select the required stain time for each stain, how much time we need to stain the slides. And also we have to set the washes between every steps. And on the digital display, there is a digital display over there on the machine. We have to set everything. We have to put every reagent or the fixed slides over under the machine, and it will stain your slide automatically. So slide device is fully automated. The only thing is we have to add the various stains and reagents, and we can load various multiple heat fixed slides also in the machine, and we have to set all the things on the display. Selecting and setting the right protocol and time on the display setting is very important. First you have to done with the setting area, and now your staining will be done accordingly. So you cannot change after that. This is your automatic slide stainer. This is your display. Here you can set all the time, and you can put all the, here you can add slides in the slide rack. So here you can add your fixed slides, your reagents, and everything you have mentioned in the display, and your slides will be stained automatically. So this is all in the unit 2. We have completed all the staining procedures and automated slide stainers. This is all for your unit 2 histopathology. Thank you.